And welcome to another episode of the Capital Gains Tax Solutions podcast, where we believe most high net worth individuals and those who help them, they struggle with clarifying their capital gains tax deferral options. Not having a clear plan is the enemy. Using a proven tax deferral strategy, such as the deferred sales trust, is an amazing way for you to exit highly appreciated businesses, real estate, cryptocurrency, or really any asset of any kind, help you to defer capital gains tax and then create and preserve more wealth by unlocking what's called compounding interest, the seventh, or was it the eighth wonder of the world. Every episode, we're joined by some of the best real estate, financial, and wealth folks in the world, where they share their ideas, deal stories, and inspiration, which together make complex tax deferral strategies simple and passive income plans achievable. I'm excited about our next guest. In fact, it's one of our special podcast episodes today. It's one of our client success stories here with Capital Gains Tax Solutions. And in fact, our client today, she's originally from New Hampshire and achieved her doctor of, I'm going to have her pronounce that, medicine degree of University of New England College. And essentially focused on anti-aging, functional, and regenerative medicine fellowship program and a participant of stem cell therapy fellowship program and so much more. She's going to share a part of her story as well, share what her company is doing, which is amazing. You can learn about that at drstudio.com. She's now in Southern Florida. Please welcome to the show with me, Dr. Elizabeth Roy. Dr. Roy, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, Brett. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. And for our listeners getting to know you for the first time, could you give us a little bit more about your story and your current focus? And please pronounce that correctly, because I am still learning and I just don't want to butcher your amazing degree that you have there. So tell us the degree and the background a little bit more.
Sure. It's a doctor of osteopathic medicine. There are two types of fully licensed physicians in this country, MDs and DOs. And so it's really just a little bit of a different approach to medicine, but more similarities than there are differences. Yeah, so I started practice in 2007 in Tampa. We moved to Fort Lauderdale in 2010 and have really enjoyed South Florida. I grew this practice, Dr. Studio, and I sold it October 1st of last year. I stayed with the company as a chief strategy officer, and I'm still growing it for Forum Health, who bought Dr. Studio.
Absolutely amazing. And, before we dive into the success story of exiting and being able to defer the tax and grow the wealth now, I want to take one other step back, Dr. Roy. I believe we've all been given certain gifts in this life, and these gifts have been given us to be a blessing and help to others. So backing up, before you became a doctor or before your intense studies, before everything you're doing now with medicine, talk to us a little bit about, who Dr. Roy was growing up. What was like, hey, Dr. Roy was just so good at this thing or these couple things, right? And how does that help how you help and bless people today?
Well, I've always been entrepreneurial. I came out of the chute as an entrepreneur. I had paper routes when I was, 8, 9 years old and sold eggs to the neighborhood and it just never stopped creating businesses. I wanted to make an impact and I thought, well, what better than to go into medicine with an approach with a real focus and a wellness type of approach, a whole body wellness type of approach. So I knew that it would be a different type of practice and that my entrepreneurial skills and passions would be necessary in order to be successful. Because when you take, it's a cash practice. Our insurance model, our healthcare model is just so broken. It doesn't serve many people. And so it's an out of the pocket expense. And so there's nobody sending you clients. You have to be expert in client acquisition, conversion, fulfillment, remarketing. I mean, the whole thing, the part of the really cool medicine that we practice, though it's an ongoing learning experience. It's fascinating. It's amazing. It's fun. It's probably the easiest part of the job, really, when you think about having to get customers through the door and deliver a real high level of service.
Absolutely amazing. I love how you connected the entrepreneurial spirit that you had at a young age with helping and make an impact for people for overall wellness. I think that's it's so unique and so needed.
Yeah.
What would you say is the most rewarding thing about what you do, Dr. Roy?
We help people. Every single patient that walks through the door has been looking for something different. If they could put their insurance card down and get what it is that they needed, then they would have done that. But they come to us with higher level needs, a desire for something that's going to address the root cause. And so, it's a different enough approach where people really appreciate what it is that we have to offer. It's actually a very fast growing specialty because the consumer votes with their wallet, and that's what they're doing. They're choosing a different approach.
Be like maybe the number one secret for someone who's never even thought about this type of wellness, of medicine, of everything that you're doing. What would be like the question or the thing that if you could tell them, hey, this would be the question to be asking, or this would be the thing to be looking into if they have never met you before?
Well, that is a very big question. The one thing I could say is disease is opportunistic. People feel as though it fell out of the sky and all of a sudden they're affected by this thing or afflicted by this thing. And that's not how it works. It happened years ago. It's been happening. You're on a disease trajectory and you don't know it until you get there. But that doesn't have to be that way. You absolutely can know it well before you get there so that you can course correct. You can actually even go further back and prevent it. So we have so much control over our health, our wellness, our wealth, as it were. We'll talk about that certainly. It's when we don't exercise that right, and we don't take a proactive role that we end up in a place that is very challenging. So you're in control.
Yes, so well said. And I think it's a great opportunity to transition for the exit plan, because likewise, we try to practice preventative tax, right, before someone's having to pay a large amount of capital gains tax. So let's dive into the story. You build up the business, you're looking at an exit, right? And now take us to the part before you met us. It's sort of like, what was the big, thought and challenge that you're looking at and you're facing? And then walk us through the journey with the deferred sales trust.
Well, like all entrepreneurs, you build something to sell it, right? It's just the nature of things. And so from the very beginning, I was learning. I've never taken a business class. I didn't have the benefit of a family member who had a business. So it was all just grassroots. But I knew that it's all about planning and prevention, as you mentioned. So very early on in my career, I was at a conference, and a financial planner, tax, an asset protection, tax avoidance specialist stood up there and said, it's all about what you keep, not about what you sell it for, right? And you have to make sure that you're not out of business before you sell your business, because something stupid happens and you lose all your assets. So I started very early, before I even had any assets, to understand what was happening and to put a plan in place to protect whatever it is that I did earn, and also to prepare for the eventual exit. I worked with 4 or 5 different companies over about a 6-year period of time. We went through the pain of this entire process multiple times, and every time we did, we learned something new. And we finally met Leah Graff of Sterling Tax, and she's an amazing person. She really understands tax strategy. She put us in touch with you, and I was so pleasantly surprised to learn about this tax deferred strategy. I can't tell you how many people. Just last night, I was out to dinner with friends, business owners, and telling them they have to contact you, have to get this done. It's really a great tool.
I appreciate you sharing that, and we'll dive into more about the impact and what you like about it. But I want to take one other step back. You did say, you talk with 3 or 4 or 5 others, and maybe those are all a part of the journey. Right? You're picking up these clues. You're preparing what's asset protection, whether it's capital gains tax solutions, what's wealth planning, different things to prepare the team. What was it about what Leah said that was like, wow, I've got to meet, Brett, and as well as Jake's a part of the, Order of Strategic Alliance, Jake Miller as well, to go through all of this in detail and dive a little bit deeper?
Well, I had matured in my my quest to understand. And so we've been burned a few times, right? Learning the educations are often painful and expensive. And I've had a few. And so by the time I connected with Leah, honestly, it's really an interesting thing. As a physician, I think I have more marketing and sales experience than most. I appreciate a good marketing and sales funnel. I buy things just to experience the funnel. And I was receiving emails from Leah's company, and they were selling me in the way that I had recognized. And I thought, okay, well, this is a smart group. And that's really what attracted me to them. And when I connected with them, they were saying all the right things, and they certainly had a good track record. So that's how I connected with Leah.
Excellent. That's fantastic. Yeah, I love that. You do sense a good, communication, straightforward, and also in a way that it can be digested that makes sense. I know Leah does a great job of that. So now let's talk about the deferred sales trust, right? So you have a business exit, it's capital gains tax, it's substantial. You're in Florida, by the way, which is one of the more favorable tax states. But talk about the numbers and understand just the overall financial part of this, and the ability to compound interest and grow your wealth over time, and also for future exits as well.
Yeah, I think that's really the most important thing, is this compounded interest, right? Doesn't matter whether you give the federal government 10%, 20%, 40% in taxes, that money is out of your hands and you lose the opportunity. And so it's not about the tax as much as it is keeping that money working for you to grow it faster. Eventually, you're going to pay the tax, but you'll have more to pay the tax with, right? And so it made perfect sense. I absolutely believe that compounding interest is the eighth wonder of the world, and I knew that very, very young. And so that is what was most attractive to me, that we could keep that money and keep it working for us. The second part of the beauty of this deferred tax, when you come from nothing and you are taught to save in a 401k and buy stocks and all of this, by the time you get to the point where you have something, you realize that that's not what people who with money do. There's much different opportunities out there, but it's not until you cross that threshold that you realize. The day we funded this deferred sales trust and I was introduced to Jake Meller and his team, my eyes were wide open to the opportunities that are out there. I mean, we're giving short-term loans to a tequila company in Mexico, to a casino in Medellin, Colombia, at outrageous interest, just crazy what sort of opportunities there are when you have the right team. And that's the key in my mind, is having the right team. I don't worry anymore. I don't have to kill myself trying to find these opportunities. I am part of 3 other very large company projects, some startups, some things that we're doing. And now I can just enjoy that entrepreneurial adventure, because I know that I have opportunities, my money's working for me, and now it's just fun.
Absolutely. And Jake Miller, by the way, is amazing at what he does. He's one of our number of strategic alliances financial advisors, but he's more than that. He's an entrepreneurial business mindset financial advisor, certified financial planner. And so he presents opportunities and unlocks deals that are fantastic returns that he's vetted thoroughly. And so talk about that too. So not only great entrepreneurial things that maybe are outside the box, the traditional investing, but also, Dr. Roy, for yourself as well, the ability to, fund your own next business venture or a real estate deal, right? Just to be flexible with the capital. You don't have to be passive. Like you said, you've always been an entrepreneur and you probably always will be. So talk about the beauty and the value of, in case you need a silent joint venture partner, for the trusted partner with you for that next business venture.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I am investing in a company, buying into a company as a 25% shareholder with money from the trust. And that's just, I mean, that's incredibly exciting. It's another added value. I didn't realize until your intro that I could sell my cryptocurrency into this trust. I mean, it just keeps getting better, right? I didn't realize that. I have
And then maybe I do a better job marketing too, right? But yeah, we get so focused on our deals, and crypto is a little bit newer for us as well. We've done a few deals until the market crashed. But yeah, exiting crypto, and in case you're wondering, by the way, everybody, you can not only exit a business like Dr. Roy did, but then you can exit a primary home, a business. You can exit crypto all into one trust. So it can be one trust, multiple promissory notes. So it's simplified. It's not having to create multiple trusts, right? It's just one trust. It's one tax return per trust. The investments can be in the exact same investments that you've already gone into, and you're exiting when it makes sense for you. Talk about this crypto piece, Dr. Roy, right? So I imagine you bought some crypto and it went high and it's gone low, like a lot of us, right? Different time periods. What would it have meant had you known about the DST when the markets were pretty high? Maybe it means more or less with your investments. I'm just kind of curious.
Yeah, for me, it's not, it's kind of a long play, right? It's things are crazy. Who knows what's going to happen? Spread your money out. I absolutely understand and appreciate the power of blockchain. I think that, this decentralization has to be part of our future, or we're in big trouble. And so I want to be in, I want to understand it. I know how to do it now. I know the ins and outs. I know how to protect myself. And though there's a lot of learning left to do, I feel very good about having invested in crypto, even though it went up and it's come down. That doesn't concern me. It's going to be headed in some direction. I think up eventually.
I couldn't agree with you more. And the same thing with myself. We invest in mostly Ethereum and Bitcoin, some Litecoin, some other, it's kind of the major coins. And then we work with clients that are more sophisticated with NFTs and different altcoins. We also built with my kids, mostly my older daughters, an actual, we call it the Ethereum rig. It actually, produces Ethereum. Now we shut it off for a while because, the values weren't necessarily justifying the expense for the cost. But the point is we've produced it for about a year and a half. We produced some Ethereum, which was great. And I was trying to teach the hands-on entrepreneurial of, look, if we set this up one time, it's a little bit complicated. Yeah, there's some risk involved, but this is going to be producing cash flow, Ethereum, value, coin over and over and over for 24/7 for as long as this computer will last. So just, again, back to the value of compounding interest and stepping out and taking, the steps ahead of the curve. It's so important. And that's what we're trying to communicate with everyone right now is with the deferred sales trust. It has the opportunity to help you exit highly appreciated assets, defer the tax of any asset of any kind, and be able to, have the freedoms that you desire with your wealth plan. Dr. Roy, what would you say was the biggest thing that you had to overcome when it came to the deferred sales trust after you said, oh, I can defer my tax, talk about maybe the trustee relationship with you and I as a third party unrelated trustee, talk about, the legal, what was it, the fees? What was the biggest thing that you feel like you had to overcome?
I don't feel like there was anything to overcome. I felt it was the answer I was looking for. I trusted Leah. She introduced me to you. Campbell
Law, yeah.
Campbell Law was great. It was a very easy process. Mm-hmm. And I'm a trust the process kind of gal once it makes sense to me and I trust the team. And so it's been a little bit of a learning experience as far as, where is your money? Other people are handling it, just getting some transparency over that. But again, as a business person, I understand that we're all growing our businesses and we're all putting in new systems and processes in place. And so it was a little bit of fumbling around, but nothing that concerned me. There were really no obstacles. I think the fees are very reasonable. I love the fact that you can establish the trust and you don't pay anything until you actually fund it. That was a big draw for me. It's been very interesting, very easy.
Excellent. Dr. Roy, and by the way, you can learn more about Dr. Roy by going to doctorstudio.com. She's in Southern Florida where she is practicing, helping people every single day become more self-aware, educated, interested in achieving a higher level of wellness. Medicine, science, artistry. I love the way you put that. It's a one-of-a-kind thing. Dr. Roy, what else might you want to share that I haven't asked yet about your DST experience, or anything else that could help someone who's like maybe on the edge of maybe jumping forward and considering this whole deferred sales trust for their exit?
Yeah, I would just encourage them to do it. It can be the friends I was talking to last night were saying, "Oh, it sounds complicated." No, it's not complicated. And even if it were, I mean, once you get through it, you're through it, right? It isn't, but even if it were, you're through it. It makes all the difference in the world. And the biggest part of it, which I don't think people always think about, is the opportunity cost of not having that tax money working for you. You've paid it, it's done, the rest of it's yours, but that's a big chunk that's no longer working for you. So keeping that in is a huge deal.
Absolutely. Dr. Roy, I want to thank you for being a wonderful client, an absolute delight and pleasure to work with. I want to thank you for using the gifts talents you've been given to bless and help people with medicine in amazing ways. I still want to learn more about all of what you're doing. I'm so glad to be part of Florida Resident with you now, so I can be closer to come see you and Heidi. For our listeners who want to listen or find out more about you or connect with you or check out your services, what's the best place for them to find you?
Doctorsstudio.com. Just exactly how it sounds. The website basically gives a good overview, and certainly feel free to call and we'll talk you through what the options are.
Amazing. And by the way, if people want to learn more about the deferred sales stress or take any action, you can actually reach out to me or Jake Miller. Dr. Roy is a co-client of ours. You can go to strategictaxsolutions.com to find Jake there. He's also 1-800-773-1848. Micah or Jake will answer that. And or if you're watching this, you want to connect with me, go to capitalgainstaxsolutions.com. Make sure you mention this is the show you saw it on as well. And you can check out the brand new book we just released called Building a Capital Gains Tax Exit Plan. Jake Miller is in the book, as well as I'm in the book. And we have Kevin Harrington from Shark Tank in the book, really cool. And other really smart people that were just always trying to build a team to help more of our clients make great wealth and tax decisions when they exit, when they invest. You can go to Amazon to pick up that book there. That being said, I so appreciate everyone out there listening on YouTube, podcast, and you can rate, review, subscribe. That always helps to spread the word, and we will